Hello Aquarius, thank you for tuning into this week's read. For the main part of the read, I'm going to use Tarot Illuminati by Eric C. Dunn. I'm pretty sure it's done. If not, you got the spelling there so you can find that person. Supportive Oracle Cards, Chakra Wisdom Oracle Cards by Tori Hartman. Illustrated by Gretchen. There's Gretchen's last name, if I don't cover it with my fingers anyway. Though if you pause the video and you want to find that person, their other works, or if there are any, you can do that. This is Aquarius. Alright, so we didn't have a lot of those, but I don't think that's a problem. Is there a 10th one? Okay. I don't know how many I actually put out, so I don't know why I said 10, but there you go. There is a 10 feeling, though, with this, which I'm wondering if that's an October thing for a lot of you, which, what is it, like almost October anyway? Doesn't mean, like, whatever this video comes to you, it's valid, you know that. It should be in the description if I did that correctly. You're trying to get over the past. That's what you're starting off with. That's what's causing this whole issue to come forward. Issue? Yeah, you're trying to let go of something. I don't know if it's forgive and forget or just flat out forget. It's kind of like something went awry. I feel like when you're looking in the past, you're like, well, something went a little wonky. I also feel like you're owning part of it. You're kind of like, well, looking back at that, maybe I didn't do the best I could have done. Turns out I am human. I feel like you're having one of those moments. Like, looking back, I might have had a little bit to do with this or that or whatever. Maybe at the time you didn't realize certain things were happening. Maybe you were having a bad moment, because we all have those days where we're just not in the mood and we say things that later we're like, well, I guess that didn't really help me. But we're all human. We're going to have those days where we're just not in the mood, or, you know, we're in a certain type of mood and things just happen. We just say things that we say, you know? We all have these days. But you're looking back and you're owning part of it, and you're like, let's just forget it. Let's just let it go in the past. They did things you didn't like. You did things that they didn't like. It's kind of a wash in a way. You're like, let's just let it go. Let's just let it go. I don't know if there's really a conversation, because this other side is empty. So for some of you, maybe you're having this conversation with somebody. For others of you, you're just like, it's just best left unsaid. Let's just move on from it. Seems like they are. I'm going to too. Okay. The wheel turns then. The wheel turns, and I feel like you're just getting to the part where you're letting it go. You're moving on from it. It's not an issue anymore. And then you're getting this Five of Cups moment in the actual situation. And it's almost like the past is being dragged up and thrown at you. And it's one of those things where, you know, you're kind of like, well, you know, this wasn't just me. Okay, I have my moments, but, you know, not for nothing. It didn't come out of thin air. Like, things happened for a reason. Let's not just try to put this all on me. I had a moment, but, you know, other people had their moments too. You're owning the situation still, but you're like, listen, I'm not the devil incarnate, and don't start treating me like it, because that's not right. So there's kind of like a Five of Cups, like, it's kind of moving into the past. It's just like idle chat, but you're kind of like, listen, I thought we were over this. I almost feel like this is other people, actually. That might be I almost feel like that's why it's the Wheel of Fortune coming up on your side. It may not be the person you actually had the problem with. It may be somebody, like, on the outside or on the perimeter here of the situation, and they're coming up and causing problems, and you're like, this wasn't like butt out. I feel like some of you might be even feeling that, like, hey, you need to butt out. We took care of it. We're good. And they're like, well, I don't think it's good, and this is why I don't. And you're like, and it's just one more headache. You're like, the person you were actually having the situation with, I feel like that's kind of, it's smoothed out a little bit. It's other people around it. I feel like it's other people around it. Now, why is this happening? They got 3 face down cards. It's telling me this is what you don't know that's going on behind the scenes. Somebody's getting over the situation. Like, all right, so the other person who actually had, I feel like this is even. They had their own moments too. The King of Cups reversed, but the Three of Swords reversed. There's another card in a second here. I feel like somebody's venting. Like the other person, probably the person you had the problem with, or somebody directly connected to them. So if it's not the person that you had the issue with, it's a spouse, or like a really close friend, like a best friend, or like a very close sibling. Somebody that's very close to them is the one kind of stirring the pot here, and they're venting out how they feel. They're complaining to other people about the situation. But this person, I don't think this person right here is not coming towards you. It's somebody else in the perimeter. And it's basically somebody just being a brat. And it's not the person you directly had the problem with. It's somebody else very close to that person venting about what they know and how they feel and what they think. They're just, spewing it right about it, right? Even though it didn't directly happen to them, but they took it so personally that they feel like they have the right to vent. But the King of Cups reversed is somebody who's being really unscrupulous and kind of really dramatizing a situation. It's almost like saying, we were joking around and then people were joking around and then just as a joke you tripped somebody. But it was just a lighthearted trip. It's just kind of haha. At the time that went bad. They would turn that around like, oh my God, they were laughing and snarking and making rude comments, and then they just pushed this person down the stairs and kicked them. It's nowhere near that bad, but that's how unscrupulous the conversation is getting. It's kind of like, when people get joking and maybe they make some bad jokes or they do something like they trip somebody because they think it's funny. Then when it turns out it just goes really bad and it's not funny. But then taking that situation like they were being malicious and setting them up and then pushing them down the stairs and then they kicked them after they fell. It was horrible. They were laughing and there was blood. It was horrible. Like they're really making it very dramatic. Like it was nothing like they're making it out to be, but they're making it extremely dramatic. They're just venting out some negative feelings they have. Other people are feeling like, what's the deal with this? They don't like I feel like they're really kind of like, I don't understand why you were, like they don't understand the whole situation. Like the person spewing this information and then they're like, I really feel like they're not expecting, like they're like kind of shocked to hear this and they're like, I can't believe that really happened. And there's good reason they can't believe it really happened because it didn't really happen the way they're explaining it. This is all happening away from you. It's all face down. And they're just kind of like, they're really disheartened by the whole situation. And that's why they're coming forward to you, because they don't understand it and they're thinking some of it's false and they're expecting you to clear it up for them. Meanwhile, the way they're coming towards you, it's just, you're like, oh my God, I'm not about to talk about this with another person. You have nothing to do with this. I feel like that's what you're telling this person. Like you're telling this third party, like you have nothing to do with this. Get out of it. And they're kind of like, but I can't believe you were that cruel. And you're like, what are you talking about? I said some things, they said some things. You're not really digging into it to find out what this ridiculous drama is. I don't feel like you're really into it because you're like, it's just going to stir it up again. Not into stirring it up. Let's just squelch it. Let's just nip it in the bud. Just listen, just butt out. This didn't have anything to do with you. Me and the other person worked it out. I don't know what you think happened, but quite frankly, I don't want to know what you think happened. Just butt out. So it's a weird energy here. Something balances it. I don't feel like it's you. I feel like you're like, I'm done. It's not your business. Whatever this perimeter person is, you're like, no, this is not your business. We're not talking about it. I'm not talking about this with you. And you're very strong with that. Like, no, like that's an Aquarian thing in my opinion. Tell me if I'm wrong in the comments, but if you don't want to say something, guess what? It's not being said. Nobody's going to force you to talk about something that you don't want to talk about. No matter who it is, you'll find a way out of it. You'll move these things around. You'll turn it around on them. But you're like, if I don't want to talk about it, you're not going to force me to talk about it. No. And I feel like you can get really annoyed with that. And you have a lot in your arsenal to deal with that. You're not going to put up with it, is what I'm getting. You're not. And you're holding to that. Like, no, I'm not talking with you about this. It's not your business. I've decided, and you're not getting that information. So, door shut. Ironically, the situation gets sorted out in a different way. This person is like, I almost feel like they're going to the other person like, oh my God, I heard how bad this was and what the Aquarius did to you. And I feel like the enlightenment is coming here because I feel like the other person's like, well, that's not how that happened. We were kidding around. Things got a little out of hand. They did trip me, but it was supposed to be funny. It's just I fell down and I broke my nose. It wasn't like they didn't maliciously try to do it. It was like it was a bad joke, but they didn't like it wasn't that bad. They weren't being nasty to me. We were both making funny jokes. It just got a little out of hand. Nobody pushed anybody downstairs. They did not kick me. They actually helped me up afterwards. They did not mean to hurt me like that. Like, it was just a weird situation. Somebody else is saying, listen, that's not really what happened. That's not really how that played out. And I feel like they're also kind of like, you know, can you just let that go? Let's just move on from it, because we've figured it out. We've moved on from it. You need to move on from it too. Just this really, I don't want you really pulling this up again. I don't want you stirring this up again. So somebody else is, the other person, I feel like the other person involved is saying, listen, enough is enough. No, that's not what happened, but please don't stir this up again, is what I feel like they're saying. The Chariot then comes in with the Soulmate card. I feel like this person still comes back towards you anyway. I don't know who this person is, but I feel like they can't help themselves. It's third party. It literally really has nothing to do with them, but they're feeling like because they brought it towards you and trying to get information, almost like they're on bad terms with you or something for doing that. They're coming back towards you. There might be an apology with that. They're just saying, oh, I understand what happened. Never mind. I'm just going to butt out. I understand that it's already been taken care of. There's no big problem. And I almost feel like if this is actually happening in this part, because I don't know, you know, it's a general read, but if this is coming towards you, you're kind of like, okay. And you're kind of like, okay. Like, I'm done. Like, I just kind of like, all right. And you're like waiting for them to stop talking, and when they walk away, you're like, and stay out of it. I feel like you're playing it nicely. You're just kind of like, you're not looking to make any other new problems. So you're like, okay, good. Okay, that's fine. Okay, let's just move on from it. All right, I gotta go. I gotta go now. And you're just kind of exiting from the situation like, yeah, please stay out of my business. It's kind of one of those moments like, yeah, it had nothing to do with you and it doesn't need to. You're not amused by the moment, but you're kind of like, all right, you need to say your piece. Okay, you did. Thank you. Thank you. Let's just kind of move on. You want them to move on. They are. I'm noticing you have the High Priestess coming in next. And I feel like something is weird with this situation. Like, you're like, I thought this was done, but it came around again. And you're kind of like, you know what? Maybe I'll just kind of mind my own business for a little while. Maybe I'll just stay out of this kind of social circle for a little while. I'll just kind of hold to the side. I'll play in the back here on my own. I'm not really sure what the energy is here, but you know what? I'm just not about this right now. Just for right now, you're like, and it's not a permanent feeling, but you're thinking, for right now, I'm going to let it be. You're kind of, I feel like you're taking a hiatus with this card, with the High Priestess. You're like, you know what? It's good enough. What else is there's something else with this, because I feel like you're kind of stepping back, but you're also seeming to watch and listen to other people at the same time. I don't see you like vacating the situation. I still kind of feel like you're in the same room, but like in like the darker part, like you're kind of like, you know, if it was like a holiday party and there was a tree, like a holiday tree, a Christmas tree, there you go, whatever you want to call it, you would be kind of over to the side, like listening but not really being involved, or you'd kind of like be off to the side in the crowd, just kind of listening, just kind of paying attention, is what I feel you're doing. Kind of like, I need to do a moment here, I need to understand how people are talking. There is a weird moment, like a weird feeling you're taking from this, like this moment with the wheel turning and somebody thinking, you know, they need to get involved in a situation that's already moved on, I should say. Why, like, what's the deal with that? Like, what are these people doing? Like, is there a lot of back talk going on? Is this rumor mill worse than I thought it was? Like, what's the deal? So you're kind of just listening. I'm seeing, like, you're hearing things. You're not really participating in the, like, giving your 2 cents. Because you're like, you just want to see what people are saying on their own. You don't really want to add to it. It seems to be the next phase in this where you're just kind of, I just want to know what people are saying. Like, it's not so much what they're saying about you, but what are they saying about each other? Are there certain people that are just kind of, like, going for each other? Like, is there certain people just trying to cause problems? Like, saying something a little off-key to get the truth is one thing, but saying something off-key to just make somebody mad, just that's the sole purpose, just to upset somebody, that's not okay. And I feel like that's the fine line with Aquarius that I don't think a lot of people understand. Aquarius is when they say something that may seem out of line, they're saying it to find the truth. They're saying it for a purpose to move forward. They're like, we're trying to unearth something here that's not easily seen. But it's not usual. I mean, you're Aquarius. You're very smart. If you want to say something mean, you can do it. But I feel like it's not usual for just to, you're not going to say something mean or heartless just to be heartless. If somebody makes you mad and like inspires you, okay, that's a whole nother ball. But it's a whole nother ball of wax. But like if you're just hanging out with people and you're just bored, you're not gonna shoot a dart at somebody. You're not gonna like try to start really upsetting somebody just for fun. That's not normal in my opinion. I mean, everybody's got their own feelings, but if they earn it, that's another thing. If they earn it, that's a whole different ball of wax. But if you're just hanging out with people, you're not looking to tick somebody off just for the fun of it. You're looking to find out information. There's usually a reason. Like you might say something off color, a little out of sorts, something that's going to kind of rub somebody the wrong way, but the purpose is to find out what they really think or get some new information that you think that is not coming up normally or naturally. So you're listening to people, you're trying to find out what's really going on here, why are we saying certain things, why is this happening, trying to find out if there's certain people that are just looking to cause problems, or do we just have flat out troublemakers here, what's the deal. But I'm seeing here like nobody's really saying anything. No, there's nothing really happening. I feel like people are like aware that you're not amused. People seem to be on guard, is what I'm getting, because you got the impartiality, if I can say it. There's the spelling of it. You probably could say it better than I can. Impartiality is how I think you say it. I feel like they're careful. They're watching. They know you're there. They're watching what they say. They're just trying. Like it's almost like I feel like other people have been talking about you a little bit, kind of like you're not in the mood, you're not amused. That watch. You should watch what they say around you because you're over it. I don't know what that's about, but I feel like that's what's happening here. Nothing seems to be really stirring the pot at this moment. I really feel like people are aware, like maybe something went a little too far. But they're also kind of like, if you really tick off the Aquarius, they'll give you a mouthful, and you might not like it. So they're all kind of like, unless it's necessary, just kind of like watch what you say, keep it together, mind your P's and Q's, all that good stuff. I really feel like that's what's happening there. Okay. So I feel like somebody is trying to pull back towards you. What seems to be moving this whole era on, this whole moment on, somebody's coming towards you with it's usually, I consider it the magician. It's the alchemist, but I consider it the magician. Same difference to me. And the Two of Wands is like somebody's like saying, hey, you want to be a part of this? We got this going on. Somebody's inviting you to something, pulling you in on some project, something like that. This is what's moving situations forward. This is what's moving this all into the past. This is where you're finally going to actually put this in the past and move on from it. You're going to get invited to something or included in a project. I feel like you're reluctant to accept this at first. But this is not only moving on from this, I'm going to hold back energy, I'm going to hold to the side energy. It's moving you out of that phase and moving you into the normal speed of whatever usually goes on here. Things seem to be moving on. And this is where it's truly moving on. This is where this situation is truly letting go and truly fading into the past. I do see that you're reluctant to let this happen at first. You have still like a little bit of a bitter taste in your mouth from it, and you're like, I don't really like how that went. But I feel like you're warming up to it, and you're kind of like, yeah, all right, fine. I feel like you warm back up to the situation, but at first, like when they first ask you, I feel like you're like, no, I don't think so. And they're like, well, think about it. And you're like, well, I guess I'll think about it, but I don't think so. Just give it a couple days. I'll give it a couple days, but I don't think so. And I feel like that's your initial reaction. Like, I don't think so, but all right, I'll give you a couple days. I'll let you know in a couple days, but don't hold your breath because I don't think so. But I feel like you really do evaluate it, think it over, and you're like, yeah, I mean, why not? I feel like you're looking at it and you're like, yeah, I think it's time. Like, I don't really want to leave this situation totally. It looks like it's moved on. Let's go back into it. You got renewal here. You're just reluctant at first to really get back into it. I do feel like it's okay to get back into it. I do feel like it's good for you to get back into it. No, I think it's good. I was like, is there anything else with this? No, I feel like that's what's going to move it on. I just feel like it's going to take you a moment to be comfortable with it. Anything else with that? All right, I think we're good. Thank you for watching. I hope that helps. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. Thank you.